Good day, everybody. Bill from Empress Accounting. How are you doing today? Today I just gonna make a brief video or YouTube video about the budget 2020. They say it's the biggest budget ever. Well, I guess this is the biggest budget, but what I want to talk about today is I just want to give you the brief explanation about what's important to me, what's important to my client base. So I'm not talking about 500 million turnover business or the 5 billion turnover business. They can pretty much look after by their very expensive accountants. But I just want to talk about those business with around 10 million turnover based on. So what's the actual benefit that we can get through this budget? Not like, I believe that more than 60%, 70% of business is around that area, between 10 mil to 50 mil around turnover, even under that. So, I just want to talk about those people. All right. The first thing is pretty much everybody is the same. Personal tax code, marginal tax rate has been changed again. So, previously it was a 37K, up to was a 19%. Now it's a 45K. 19%, and previously was a 90K for the 32%. Now it's 120K. So which means that if you are those wage salaries and get it paid, probably you're gonna pay less tax because marginal tax rate has been changed. So which means you're gonna have a better net income that you can spend it on. Or in a 2021 financial year, when you're doing a tax return, you're gonna get a better refund this time. That's pretty much self-explanatory, and government was talking about bring this on, but they just fast track it and they bring it a little bit early this time, right? So let's move on to the business, right? There are lots of measures they're talking about the business, but I just want to pick on some of the important matters. The first thing is instant asset write-off. So pretty much if you purchase an asset, we got to put it into depreciation schedule, and based on the depreciation rate, we can claim each year we can claim a tax deduction on it. The government says that if your turnover is less than 5 billion, pretty much everybody, right? 99% of the business, except for your other banks or the top 100 company. So you can write it off the assets straight away. But the catch is, when you purchase the $300,000 Maserati, still the car limit will get applied, and you can't claim a deduction right away. The car limit is $59,000, so that's the pretty much amount that we claim a deduction about. Right, instant asset write-off, right? Once we done the instant asset write-off, probably in a 2020 financial year, 2021 financial year, 2022 financial year, potentially the company might have a losses situation. In the loss situation, we can carry back those losses to the previous year, which is quite handy. So for example, we can only carry back the losses to 2018-19 financial year. So for example, when you have a profit that you have paid tax in an 18-19 financial year, when you're doing a 19-20 financial year tax, you gotta carry forward losses. You gotta losses in income. That loss income we can carry back to 18-19 financial year and claim a refund back, which we already done under the Julia Gillard government back in 2013 financial year, right? So if you remember that, if you done a tax refund back then, pretty much the similar scheme, but a lot more generous this time. So make sure you talk to your accountants about this loss carryback provision. And I think instant asset write-off will combine with this loss carryback provision as well. Just another thing that I need to briefly mention is instant asset write-off. If your turnover is less than $50 million, pretty much everybody that I know, and you can claim instant asset write-off on the second-hand asset as well. So not just the brand new asset, second-hand asset can be also applied as well. So I've just briefly explained about instant asset write-off and then loss carryback, and also want to focus on the R&D tax incentive percentage has been changed. So if you ever want to claim the R&D tax incentive, the percentage has been increased from 16.5% to 18.5%, which means roughly based on how much you spend it on R&D, 2% more that the government want to give it back to you as well. The last thing that I found very interesting is a fringe benefit tax exemption on the car park, as well as a multiple electronic devices as well. So, well, pretty much it's a common sense during the COVID time. People, they don't want to trouble by public transportation, and then you get a car park exemption, as well as everybody using like their phones and iPad and electronic devices. They got an exemption on that. Multiple devices. Previously only one devices, now it's a multiple devices. Those are the 4 measures that I found. They're very interesting and relevant to small and medium-sized business for this budget tax relief. And then finally, before I go, I'm just going to briefly touch about this hiring government scheme called Jobmakers and Jobtrainers. Okay, this Jobmakers briefly, if you are the young fellow between 16 to 29 and you get a job, and an employer will get a government subsidy or Jobmaker hiring credit through the ATO, $200 per week up to 12 months time, right? So that'll be the great benefit for the employer to hire new people, especially young people, because they got a subsidy. So the catch is this new employee, they need to get paid last 3 months, at least 1 month among the last 3 months, that use allowance, job seeker, and parents payment, and they need to work more than 20 hours per week as well. So once they qualified it and they can apply this Jobmaker, the employer will apply the Jobmaker and they get a wage subsidy, and there are more reason to hire the young people as well. Right, there is a further condition attached to it, like they need to hire more people and their payroll need to get increased. But please talk to your accountant how to apply these Jobmakers, as well as later on they're talking about job trainers as well. This Scott Morrison and Josh Federal government, they really like put names on job seekers, job makers, job keepers, job trainers, all this naming. It's easy for the people to remember. I think it's not that bad, but account give us a lot of jobs to our accountant as well at the same time. So just want to briefly touch it with personal income tax code, all those business assistant investment measures, as well as this hiring opportunity by this budget. So just gonna explain to you again next time with other issues. Thanks for listening me, and you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.